Hey guys, welcome back to my video. And this video is actually what I really waited to film so bad because I honestly think someone should have told me before I start my career. Anyway, these are the 5 practical tips. Please watch till the end, and hopefully if you find it useful, then I'm going to upload similar videos, so hopefully you can subscribe as well. So I started working at an investment bank, specifically at in debt capital market, about 5 months ago. And I've always wanted to work in corporate setting. I therefore thought that I was built for it because I wanted it. But there's something that truly caught me off guard. So the first one is how first impression matters a lot more than you think. Now, as for me, I'm not really a judgmental person, even though I may seem like it, according to my friends. I do give people whom I met in university several chances, despite, a negative first impression whatsoever. But when you're working at big firms with a lot of people, unfortunately, you won't get to spend as much time with each one of them like you did in uni, which means that your first impression becomes a bit longer than just what first impression would usually do. And I've also realized that a lot of the older people than us are a bit more judgmental than us. I don't know if it's about age, or I don't know if it's about the corporate personality that they gain in the process of being there for so long, but it is what it is, right? When you're working at big firms, getting big salaries, you're not getting paid that much because of your contribution as a junior. There's no way your contribution as a junior is actively contributing to the KPI of that firm. And as you may have seen from my previous video, a lot of the works you do at first are unrelated to the actual firm performance, like KPIs, but more like internal checkups to, learn first and see if there's any mistake in the middle. So then you're getting paid to do the basic stuff first, which is not just the basic, checkups I just mentioned, but being punctual, complying to the firm's culture there, and respecting the values. Your posture, facial expression, the way that you walk, because some people are walking like this with their, what I'm talking about, the feet, not going like this, but like this. The tone that you use also matter. You don't want to be too much like a frat boy sounding guy. You want to be a bit more polite, even though it may be your peers that are talking. You have to make sure that you differentiate your friends with colleagues, even though they may be your friend age. These all matter because there's so many people who will inevitably talk about new people during the team lunch, team dinner, etc. Second, kill that I'm better than others or other juniors here mindset. I think this is probably uniquely my problem because I need to learn how to be more humble. But when I first got my job, I did not, and maybe still don't, consider my, first job, this job, as my, forever job. I viewed it more as like a stepping stone. And I also had an extensive internship at a very well-known firms. So I thought of myself a bit overqualified for this job, which now that I even think about it, even if it's a stepping stone, and even if you think you're overqualified, it's so important to be grateful, especially in this economy, and humble, because I realized that I don't know anything. I thought I was overqualified because I do have internship experience at corporate, but working full time and having that 1 to 3 months internship is extremely different. Whilst you're working it, right? Even though you don't want to work there or you feel as though you're not quite fit for it, if you have to work there for a bit, you might as well give it all, give it all in, right? And try to form a good relationship with them, at least during those periods when you're staying with them. I think we tend to label something a failure as soon as it slightly deviates from what we originally wanted, especially if you're a perfectionist or highly ambitious people. I'm not a perfectionist, but I think I'm pretty driven, which means that if it's not aligned with the vision that I had perfectly, then I get disheartened and think that I kind of failed. But that's not really true, because the progress is what leads to perfection. And when we're on that progress of making it better, we are still going for the perfection, or going to our own version of definition of success. So it's important to be consistent and humble regardless of your past experience, at least while you're still in there. Number 3, this is only relevant to girls, but you are expected to be a girl a lot. I oftentimes forget that I'm a girl. It just sounds like really funny, but I'm not like usually self-conscious of my own gender identity all the time. Because like what? Like I identify myself as a worker here, as a, for example, like banker, who have to be productive and do my work, rather than a girl who has to like smile to other people or try to be more friendly, just like other women colleagues. I do feel more self conscious of my gender identity because there are male colleagues who create a clique by themselves and go out on lunch with only men because not because they hate you. It's definitely not because they hate you, but it's because they genuinely don't know what or how to talk to you as young girls. And particularly if they're a bit older men who don't want to like unintentionally offend us or say something that is likely to be canceled, for example. I think I had a really hard time when I was already feeling left out, but then my other manager told me to smile a bit more when I was already feeling excluded. Yeah, it was definitely difficult at the time. But remember that like these are all nuanced circumstances, and HR is usually not the go-to situation where you can rely on, unfortunately. Number four, taking one step more and thinking once more. So taking one step more would be like after a meeting or a client call, make sure to take notes to send it to the managers, or after submitting a report, send a list of links for the sources so that it's easier for them to like click and have a look at like where you got that information from. It's not just to differentiate yourself from other like junior analysts or junior whoever. It's also a process of building trust and credibility with the managers so that they think, oh, I can trust this person with my work. I can assign them more work. And that's how you get busier, and that's how you get approved as the good one, the smart one. Be really selective and intentional when asking questions. Please don't ask something that you can easily look it up on AI or Google. Even though it's a question that the manager can answer with like a simple yes or no, they do find it annoying, which honestly I don't really, anyway, and use it as a sign or a cue to judge you. Number five, neutrality. I talked about this in my previous video, so please have a look. Transitioning from uni to work, I realized that the people that I don't like, I cannot physically block them anymore in my life. I do need to see them every single day. They're still my colleagues. I do still need to stay with them for like 8 hours every day of my life. At first, I really tried to like them until I realized that I can just stay neutral. I don't have to proactively, go out to like them, ask for like, lunch with them or coffee with them and be their friends. But I also don't have to hate them because it only consumes my emotional energy, which is extremely unfair. Because imagine like someone just living their life unbothered and you're the one who's like next to them being like, oh my God, I hate that person so bad, like all the time. That is just unfairly draining your own energy, which does not do your own self-justice. So it's a new concept that I learned, and everything else is also something that I got reminded a bit more. So hopefully you can apply this once you start working, or maybe even next week. I'll see you in my next video.